Welcome back to Trying to Figure This Out. I hope you've had a good week. Over the last few weeks, we've shared a few conversations together. Some of you have reached out with encouragement. Some of you have shared your own stories, and a few of you have asked me the same question. Why did you start a podcast? So I've been thinking about that. And the truth is, I've wanted to do this for a long time. Not because I needed another hobby, and definitely not because I wanted to hear myself talk, although I do enjoy myself. The truth is, I've always enjoyed good conversations, the kind that make you stop and think, the kind you find yourself replaying a day or two later because something someone said stayed with you. It's funny how we do this sometimes. We carry an idea around for years. We tell ourselves one day when life slows down, one day when I have a little more time, one day when I know a little bit more. Then one day you wake up and there's no more one days. And you realize if I keep waiting for the perfect time, I may never start. I think that's what finally happened to me. I stopped waiting and decided to begin. And if I'm being honest, meaningful conversations seem to find me everywhere. At basketball games, standing in the line at store. No, I've never met a stranger. At the doctor's office. After the game, standing in the parking lot after everyone else has gone home. My boys, they laugh about this all the time. We'll go to a restaurant, and before long, I've started talking to the waitress or the waiter, and I can almost hear them saying, "Oh, here we go again." They think it's a little cringy, and they're probably right, but I've always been fascinated by people, their stories, their experiences, the lessons that they've learned that I haven't learned yet. Because every person you meet knows something that you don't know. Every person has lived a life that you haven't lived. And if we're willing to slow down and really listen, like really, really listen, we usually leave the conversation a little better than when we started. So over the years, life has given me opportunities to teach, to coach, to lead, and I'm grateful for every one of those experiences. But one of the greatest gifts those experiences have given me isn't that they've provided all the answers, it's that they've taught me the value of asking better questions. The more life I've experienced, the more I've realized that most of us are trying to figure out a lot of the same things. We're trying to become better people, better versions of ourselves. We're trying to find purpose and trying to understand change, trying to make sense of seasons that don't always make sense while we're living through them. And somewhere along the way, I realized I wanted to have those conversations with more people, not just the people sitting in my classroom, not just my coworkers, not just my team, not just people that I meet during the course of my day. I wanted to get out in the world and meet more like minded people and try to figure these things out together. That's really why this podcast exists. Not because I think I have something to teach, but because I believe we all have something to learn from one another. Every person has a perspective. Every person has a story. Every person has figured something out that I haven't figured out yet. And if we all are willing to listen to each other, we will all leave a little better than when the conversation started. I don't want this to become a podcast where I sit behind a microphone pretending I figured it out because I haven't. I'd much rather create a place where we can have honest conversations, where it's okay to wrestle with ideas, to challenge each other's thinking, to change our minds, and to grow. If you've listened to the first few episodes, you probably noticed something. I don't usually end with an answer. I usually end it with a question, and that's intentional. Because I don't believe we grow the most when someone hands us the answers. I think we grow the most when we're willing to have the conversation. See, when I teach, one of the things that sticks with me the most is this, is that students who grow the most aren't always the ones with the quickest answer. Most often, they're the ones who aren't afraid to ask a question. I think life kind of works that way as well. So here's the question I've been asking myself lately. Where do we go from here? I don't know, but I am excited to find out. Some weeks it'll just be you and me having a conversation like this. Other weeks, we'll bring someone else to the table. We'll talk about purpose, leadership, relationships, faith, failure, success, fear, the decisions that we make every day, the seasons that we walk through, and everything in between. But no matter what we're talking about, I hope every episode feels like you're sitting across the table from a friend. Not someone telling you how to live, but someone who's walking beside you, trying to figure this out too. And if somewhere along the way, one of these conversations encourages you to have a conversation that you've been putting off, or to look at your life a little bit differently, or simply ask yourself a better question, then this podcast is doing exactly what I wanted to do. I don't know where this podcast will be in a year from now. I hope that we've met some incredible people. I hope that we've shared some incredible conversations. And I hope that we laugh together. And I hope that we grow together. Maybe even change our minds a few times. But more than anything, I hope that we build a community of people who enjoy thinking a little deeper, who aren't afraid to grow, who aren't afraid to admit that they don't have it all figured out. But the truth is, none of us do. And maybe that's exactly what brings us together. So thank you for being here and thank you for believing in this idea. And thank you for being willing to figure this out together. I'll see you soon.